Welcome to this episode of YouTube where I've entitled it Opportunities for Observation. And here at the International Wolf Center, we do have a lot of opportunities to watch the wolves. Certainly, we know that the daily wolf care allows us a chance to videotape the wolves to be able to watch their behaviors. And this is Denali on top of what we call the pump housing. And what's interesting about this is that the yearlings are doing a little bit of jaw sparring, kind of out of camera range. And Denali wants to engage, but he's a little bit hesitant. And that hesitation does come from the fact that the yearlings have been doing a little bit of testing lately. They haven't been testing Aiden, they haven't been testing Bolts, but they've been testing Denali. And certainly Denali probably has a little bit of history with them where he shows a little bit of dominance around those pups when they first came in, and maybe it was a little bit hard on Grayson from the standpoint of causing Grayson a tuck tail and certainly some fear avoidance. And now Denali wants to approach, and he's yawning, which is kind of a little bit of stress. He's licking his lips, and he's doing a four-leg stab like he wants to engage. His tail is wagging, but he's not quite certain. And actually, Desmond Morris, I think, coined the phrase that sometimes a tail wag is a little short tail wag, might mean a little bit of confusion. Should I stay? Should I go? Kind of hesitation. A lot of yawning can mean stress as well. So that's in response to those yearlings. You hear him growling in the background. A little bit intimidated, but not that significant of an issue. When we do the wolf enrichment programs at noon, we actually are able to lock all 5 wolves into the medical pen and be able to separate them so we can put out stimuli. What you're seeing in this clip is the donation of some dog cupcakes that we laid out for stimuli, and Denali rolling there with some peanut butter on his neck. So we know that distractions are very, very important. We also know that wolves, especially young wolves, are very, very curious. So we have Aiden on the pup housing, Bolt's coming over kind of in a low tail, Grayson just kind of lying around, but Axel and Denali are looking up. Again, on a windy day, you see branches moving. That movement can sometimes create stimuli, and there's Axel, he's going to jump up and try to grab a branch, and in fact, as they work through the night, this is from the surveillance video, they just broke that whole branch off of the tree. So it's very common for us in a pup year, and especially pup yearlings transition, that we will spend a fair amount of time on vegetative management within an exhibit. Yearlings can be very hard on regrowth of trees, so it's very important for us to make sure we manage that quite well. So Aiden's going to come down and kind of check out what the issues are, or kind of what the excitement's about. And Aiden's 9 years old. He's way beyond tree biting branches. This is a yearling thing, and typically, like I say, it's just a little bit of that tug of war kind of predatory behavior. So the other thing that we're looking for is what are the distractions that really get them focused when things are really stimulated. So here's a circumstance where the fire siren's going off. Normally that would be a time that wolves howl, but the water flowing gets them really excited to bite and to grab, and obviously we've had some hot days, so that's important. But what's equally important is that the water is such a great focus that we know even if the intensity ramps up, like I said, sirens going off, typically the wolves would be focused on that. We know that the water can overcome high excitement externally. So if we have some tension where they're kind of picking on Denali, we know that a quick spray of the water hose could result in the wolves having enough of a distraction to kind of back off and check something out. One thing we have experienced with yearlings, if you can get one yearling out of a predatory drive or a testing behavior, it's not very often that the other yearling doesn't, kind of follow along. The idea is that they don't have a lot of confidence individually, but as a team, they kind of feed off each other. So it's nice to always have distractions so we can kind of come up with a way to kind of feed off of that. So over on the east side, you're seeing some footage here of ponds. We do have a pond management system in the exhibit that has a UV filter that keeps the water clean. But on the east side, it doesn't have a filter system. It's just a stagnant pond. So that has to be washed on a frequent basis and scrubbed. The other thing that we do is we use a soy-based coating that gives a little bit of traction and keeps that algae from really accumulating along that pond edge, so when these older wolves go into that edge that they have a little traction. And Luna has also surprised us in that she's been utilizing a kind of a dug area that Lakota first started, Shadow Malik kind of opened up as well. But this underneath the white pine roots next to the pond, there's a hole that's been excavated, and Grizzer's been working on it as well. But Luna's physically able to get in there, not so much to escape the heat. She actually spends time in the pack holding area when she's hot, but here is a great place to store your deer leg. So we weighed Luna today. She was about 106, which is kind of around the same weight that she was, but we weighed her on a Tuesday. On Saturday night, she had a big deer leg, and in fact, we thought that she ate the deer leg on Saturday and Sunday, but in fact, we think that she cached it and she didn't quite eat it. So we may have been weighing a wolf who had a little bit more meat in their system than we typically would. But she's agile, and certainly this body work that we're doing has given her more mobility than she's had in a long time. And so this back leg is she's able to maneuver down into small crevices and be able to get in and out pretty easily. So we're very happy about that, and we continue to manage her. You can see her tail response is up again. So where normally that tail would be tight, locked down to her butt. So the more body work staff does, the more release that tail has. And it's really been helpful for us to see her feel better about that. And that's a real important thing for us for Luna management. We know that this isn't just about the femur. This is about an abnormality in the formation of her body that's affected her vertebrae, as well as affected her femur socket, as well as affected her leg, affected her gait, and how she walks. So I'm certain that this is a long-term health management issue for Luna, and I think we're on a good track to make her feel better. Certainly she's mobile and having that ability to get around probably better than we've seen her in a long time. So we're very happy about that, and she's certainly, we'd like to have her lose another maybe 5 pounds or so, but we'll see how that goes. Winter's coming, and so there's more calorie output, staying warm, so we may see that come off a little bit. We always want to caution people, when you look at her, remember that she's in her summer coat right now. When she puts on her winter coat, they always look much bigger than they physically are. We're happy to report that Grizzer is up to 120 pounds. We haven't weighed the rest of the pack yet. We'll be weighing them on August 2nd, which is the yearling's birthday. But we're going to end up here with some footage from the retirement webcam, and this is Luna doing an invite chase to Grizzer. So the other thing with her feeling good is she feels more like interacting. So you see her kind of digging the dirt and getting excited, springing over to see Grizzer, not in an aggressive way by any means, but in a very social way. You see her tail wagging, and you see how relaxed that tail is, and how free she is to move that tail, and how easily she has the ability to move and jump off of those back legs, and certainly Grizzer himself having the ability to run and chase and engage in some very good social behavior here for summertime. Grizzer's ACL tear is kind of acting up a little bit. It seems like the humidity is a problem for him. We had him on a 10-day Duramax anti-inflammatory trial of pharmaceuticals. We're now on a 10-day off to see what the difference is. It doesn't appear that the Duramax is doing all that much. So with an earlier test showing that he's got pretty good liver values now, we're likely to also offer him a little bit of pain relief. That's something that he hasn't had in the past, and we were always concerned about his age and using something like a analgesic that might be hard on his liver. But at 13.5, we want to make sure that he's comfortable, and that's important for us. We always want to watch, though, with a pain reliever. When you take away their pain, sometimes they choose to run around more than they should. So we want to make sure nothing wrong with a limp if it keeps them from putting too much stress on their legs. So we will always be mindful of that. But he's doing great, and that's it for right now. So we will see you again. Have a good week.